For once, it was easy for the Warriors against the Mavericks at home in San Francisco. The Mavs had dominated the Dubs since the Chase Center opened. They put 124 on them, 133, 141, won all those games easily. Curry got it. Warriors down too early, playing without Draymond Green, but they are playing with Klay Thompson. You'll see him in a second. That's Luka Doncic tying it early. Speaking of Klay, named a late starter, and he got it moving. TNT asked him after the game, how's the knee feeling? He said, fine. He missed the last game with a little knee soreness. And then finding a little bit of room here as well. Warriors lead by a dozen heading into the half. Their offense has really struggled the last 10 games, especially from three. Look at this pass from Thompson. After the game, they asked Klay, what did that feel like? He's like, I felt like Magic Johnson out there with some of my dishes. High bar, might as well meet it. Curry to Poole. Warriors up 19, they're rolling. Now remember, Steph is coming off maybe his worst performance of the season, 13-point output. Just a reminder, he is human from time to time, but he got it going, and this was a laugher heading into the fourth. As I said, normally it had been a laugher heading into the fourth in favor of Dallas, but this one was all Golden State. At the end of the broadcast, they were talking about Wiseman, Kuminga, all the bright stars they have on this team. That's the latter. Kuminga throwing it down. He actually led the Warriors in scoring. You don't see that often with 22. Dubs win 130-92.
In no way am I saying that LeBron James, Steph Curry, has had a better career than LeBron James. And I'm certainly not saying he's a better all-around player than LeBron James. We know better. LeBron James went to 10 NBA Finals, won 4 league MVPs, won 4 titles, and what have you. And in his prime, LeBron James, when he amped it up, could really amp it up defensively, which is something Steph Curry could never do.
Okay.
What I think people are not paying enough attention to is the fact that we say that this dude is the greatest shooter who ever lived. Okay. We're not recognizing how he's transformed the game of basketball. We're not recognizing the fact that even though D'Antoni with Steve Nash and those boys really, really pushed it to another level when they just had you taking 3-point shots or layups. They just completely eradicated the mid-range game, for crying out loud, for the most part in the NBA, because that's how you have people launching up threes more so than ever before. Steph Curry has no limit. He has no range. He can shoot it short. He can shoot it long. He can shoot it from 10, 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50 feet. Literally, the minute he steps past half court, you have to defend him. And so as a result, that brings your defense out. It opens the floor up more. And even though you've got guys like Jordan Poole and Toscano Anderson and Gary Payton II and Andrew Wiggins and others, the reality of the situation is because of the presence of Steph Curry, that's what really opens up the floor for them because of what you have to do with him defensively. And when I bring up words like names like Michael Jordan, along with LeBron James, I'm talking impact. Talking impact. That's where I'm coming from. And so then I have to look at, okay, he's at 3 rings. I believe he's getting his 4th this year. Okay? If he gets his 4th this year, I believe that this is the last shot. Because I'm assuming LeBron will stay in LA and he ain't leaving. And he's not going to go back to Cleveland or someplace else. He's going to retire. I'm saying that if LeBron James is finished winning championships, and this brother over the next 3 years wins a couple of more chips at the very least, which I think is very, very, very possible. Okay. You're talking about him having more rings than LeBron James. You're talking about him being recognized already as the greatest shooter who has ever lived, a transformative figure in the game of basketball. And what I was saying on Stephen A's World last week, Keyshawn, was let's ask that question on so many occasions. We talk about LeBron or Jordan. What about Jordan Curry? What about LeBron Curry? Because of the impact that Steph Curry has had on the game of basketball. That's what I was saying.
But Molly said, and you also said the face generation, right?
That's right.
The changing.
Yes.
I don't think he'll ever get there.
Okay.
And the reason I don't think he'll ever get there is because LeBron is so far in front of him. Not only from a championship appearance standpoint, but also a championship winning standpoint. Not only that, MVP.
What do you mean championship winning standpoint?
No, I'm saying I believe he's going to get another.
Okay.
That's my belief.
I don't. All right.
Okay, but that's just my belief.
Okay.
And I'm not a LeBron apologist at all.
I
just think when you start talking about, you said the greatest shooter. of all time.
That is correct.
What is the conversation for LeBron James? Is the greatest player of all time. So that's a big difference because your argument would be, and you're going to have that coming up later on in your top 3 shooters.
Right. Top 5.
Is it top 5? Okay. Top 5 shooters. You ain't going to have your top 5 greatest players because it's always going to come down to most people in this generation, 2 people. LeBron James, Michael Jordan.
And Kareem.
I said this generation.
Gotcha.
Because they don't even know Kareem exists in this generation for the most part.
Okay.
You start with Kareem, clearly we do.
Right.
When you look at that, you say to yourself, how can Steph Curry be on the same generational level as LeBron James? I don't see where that is, and I respect Steph Curry. Like, I will go watch him wherever he can be shooting it down street at the park and they can be charging $1,000. I'm going to go do it. But it's not the same level. And I understand that because when you look at LeBron, you say, well, he changed the game from three-point shooting standpoint. Well, LeBron James changed the game from a body style to the 6'8" guard that basically can be a forward, can be a 5, can be a 4, can shoot, can't stop him in the paint. Ridiculous. So he changed it from that standpoint because we never seen that prior to LeBron.
You're talking about the greatness of LeBron James as a player and as a talent. When I'm talking about Steph Curry, not only am I talking about the greatest shooter who has ever lived, I'm talking about somebody that has transformed a culture. You've got kids going to the park, launching 3-pointers, trying to do that.
Yeah, my son is at the hip right now.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's what it is. You see what I'm saying?
No, I do. And that's why I wanted context to it.
But that's where the context, and then listen, there were people in LeBron James' camp that reached out like, what the hell did you say? So I understand where everybody's coming from when you hear what I'm saying. But I'm like, just step back and think about it from an impact perspective. Because when we think about Jordan, we thought about Magic and Bird. And then how Jordan elevated individuality because he was so far and above, superior to all of his peers.
You don't think
talent-wise. And I'm not going to say LeBron wasn't. Don't get me wrong.
No, but I'm going to say you don't think that LeBron made the big 3, so to speak, people started to come to be the big 3, that was somewhat of an individualized situation?
He gets blamed for that, but remember.
Well, that's blaming by people that just want to blame.
But let me say this. He gets blamed for that, but hear me out. With LeBron James, even though because of how he handled it, it invited that level of scrutiny. Okay, it didn't bother me, though, because it was the South Beach.
No, it didn't bother me.
It didn't bother me at all. But before him, remember, there was KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen.
But it wasn't orchestrated, though. It wasn't orchestrated by them.
Well, we can say, I understand that. That's true. It wasn't orchestrated by the players. But we can't, I get exactly, you're absolutely right, because the players orchestrated
because
that.
We can
We're in Boston with KG. They traded for KG.
We can go all the way to back to Barkley if that's the case, but it wasn't orchestrated by the players.
That's true.
And it was orchestrated by LeBron.
That's where LeBron. Well, it was. Yeah, you could say that, but it was. Really
who gonna get the credit?
It was D Wade. I can tell you that right now. It was D Wade.
But who gonna get the credit?
Gotcha.